Hey! All right, here we are. How is everyone? Ooga booga. Well, I don't think this counts as a premiere, but it is live, so hopefully you do make it back. Dennis! Oh, sorry you got held up at work, my man. Drive safe. Don't rush home, man. Ronaldus, good to see you. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Again, these live streams, they don't really help me too much with the audio going on this end, unfortunately. So, thank you, TC. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. See, I came prepared for summer this time. I made iced coffee, or cold brew, actually. It's not iced. This is just cold brew. So I came prepared today. So, all right. This has been a pretty fun week, pretty interesting week. I've had a great week. That's what it is. It is a great week. Hey, Uga, you made it back. Hey, good to see you. Kanda, welcome. Evelyn, the name is striking me. It really is. I'm trying to place it, though. 11. I remember talking to you at some point, but I am having the darndest time placing you. I apologize. Well, Uga, I'm always happy to answer questions on Dragon Magic. Oh, yeah, I think I do. Believe it or not, I actually have a few different viewers from India, so that narrows it down a little bit. But yeah. Well, Uga, I'm glad you're finding them helpful. I mean, Dragon Magic is a wonderful practice. I've enjoyed it all the years I've been doing it. Sidan, okay, yeah, I remember you. Welcome to the stream. I tell you, it's amazing. You guys are so active. I do actually remember more of you than I think I would. I'm really bad with names, but you all are so active and participate so much. I really do get to know your names quite a bit. Elizabeth, good to see you again. This week I have been working with the 9 rulers on the Dragon Magic 102 class. We're running into some logistics difficulties getting the Draconic Realms section figured out, but we're working on overcoming that. That shouldn't be an issue. For those of you already taking the Dragon Magic 101 course, you know that you got plenty of material to keep you busy. So if I do suffer any delays, you'll have no problems with that. But that said, I am still dedicated to trying to get that out as soon as I can. Well, 11, I'm glad to have you back. Anytime we lose somebody for a few weeks, we do notice it. Like Black Tower, we ain't seen Black Tower in forever. I might have to actually see if I can track him down, shoot him a message, make sure he's alive, give him a little poke. Like, hey, man, you okay? Well, that's always nice when a dragon reaches out and gets your attention. That's what they had to do to me for sure. Because, well, back then I didn't even know it was a thing. So, and I'm stubborn. I'm not an easy person to motivate into a magical or spiritual direction, especially back then. So they had to hit me hard with a hammer, but they got my attention. And it's weird to think I'm where I'm at now. Hell, at the first of the year, if you'd told me I'd even be live streaming on YouTube um, with regular people commenting and checking in, I'm not sure I'd have still believed you. And even, first of the year, the channel was still growing, but it's really surreal. It really is. But I have you all to thank for it. But yeah, this week I have been working on the 102, getting that detailed out. We're about ready to finish the elemental dragons and the specialty dragons path working. That's why we're putting so much into the logistics of working directly in the draconic realms. Also been spending a lot of time with the Fae because of the two Fae path workings. It's official. It will be two separate path workings that'll be broke into. ETA on that one. Unfortunately, currently, I don't have one. I'm thinking it's probably going to be next year, maybe midsummer before we see the first one. And that might be optimistic because they're going to make me go through this before anything else. So I have to literally toe the line all the way through it myself before we do that, which I'm glad because honestly, I don't like to publish anything I ain't done myself. That's just my personal opinion. So I got to jump through all those hoops. And I do not know which one will be first because I know they're going to do the Seelie and the Unseelie, or the light, dark, summer, winter. They're going to split it up that way. That much I am aware. But we do have that to look forward to. And I have been diving a lot back into my Norse practice because I'm wanting to be fresh on the Norse pathworking and everything that I usually teach. It's been a while since I've had a student go through it. So I'm putting myself through it and refreshing myself and making sure I'm fresh before I sit down to start filming those videos. Hey, Pimgus, good to see you. Let's see. Do I have enchanting personal rings? I am wanting to do an enchanting video and or class. I know some of you have been asking for me to do little workshops or something, and I'm trying to do that. But enchanting jewelry for magical purposes, it's pretty easy, just like making any talisman. You may have to recharge it, but figure out what it is you want it to do and focus all the energy into it. One thing I actually like to do is I actually like to design a sigil specifically for that meaning as well. And I will actually inlay the sigil energetically. I won't actually carve it, but I'll energetically engrave it with just energy over the top of the ring. And then I'll push that into the ring and I'll push the energy into the sigil. And that usually works pretty well for creating a ring as a talisman for your spiritual and magical practices. And you can customize it for whatever you're doing. So that would be the way I'd go about it. Colors of dragons. No, honestly, they do not. I know that there's a theme, like you expect red dragons to be fire dragons, black dragons to be darkness, green and browns to be earth, those kinds of things. And on average, that more or less is true. But honestly, a dragon of any element can really be any color. They can shift their color at will. If anything, I've noticed their color almost tends to go personality. So they'll choose to either Their color either represents their element or their personality, one of the two. Which unfortunately means you can't judge a dragon by its color. And this gets a lot of people in trouble because they do see that initial color and they start making assumptions of the dragon. Which that's probably one of the biggest lessons in dragon magic is don't make an assumption, take the time to get to know the individual dragon. Well, Bernaldez, I'm glad you're excited for them because we are working on them. I just got to get all the logistics done and get them filmed. Once Dragon Magic 102 is done, that's probably when I'll start filming the Norse class, most likely. I mean, we've all seen entities and dragons like to throw curveballs at me, but assuming no spiritual interference, that's the plan. Oh, magical girl, sorry to hear, or magician girl, sorry to hear your pizza's not there yet. I really can't believe that because, yeah, our pizza company gets it here quick. And yeah, I'm glad you liked the backdrop here. We grabbed that out of the ritual room and hung it up to readjust things a little bit. Because I was noticing we had a lot, and I do mean a lot, of excess light bouncing around. It looked like I was freaking glowing last week. Hopefully it's not too dark this week, but we're trying to figure out the lighting down here. Welcome, Lori. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. I really am. It's always good to know that the videos are enjoyed and helping. Yeah, we do have one restaurant out here. They take forever to get here. They'll tell you 45 minutes, which means 45 minutes or when we get around to it. But the food's worth it. It's worth the wait. Yeah, I know. My nose was practically disappearing. The light was so messed up in the last two. I mean, it was ridiculous. But as you all knew, it was an emergency situation. The office was like 100 degrees. I could not do the stream up there without just melting. So we had to adjust and adapt, and we did. Yeah, the 9-ruler one, that was a fun one to shoot. And I'm still working on the series where I do the focused one on all the rulers. Here in the next couple weeks or so, we should be getting, is it Cora Allegra, I think, coming up first of the month? We should be getting her video. Because in order to weave all the different subjects I'm trying to cover for viewers and answer questions, I'm trying to weave them in there like that. But so we should be seeing Cora Allegra soon. Thank you, I've been getting a lot of, yep, you and Magician Girl complimenting on this. I'm glad y'all like it. Mama Water. I read that as something completely different. Completely different. I read it as a different entity's name, but it's fitting. It still fits. All right, Peachy. I'll call you Peachy. Sorry. I mean, you went and changed your name up in here, you know. I try to be respectful. Hey, that's a good question. So, in order to do that, you have to reach out and actually feel that energy first. And once you feel that energy, you start pulling it into you. And you start filling yourself with that energy first and foremost. One thing I like to do is I actually like to see either like 2 containers of energy on either side of me, or me as the container. And I keep pulling that energy from the source I'm wanting to utilize until those containers are full. Once I have that supply, then I use that energy and push from those containers into the spell working I'm doing. Therefore, at no point is my visualization moving my personal energy. And that allows it to utilize that energy that I drew in and stored up from the storm, for example. That's the easiest way to get started. I know some people talk about pulling it and channeling it in one movement, but the visualization can get a little murky and cause you to start using your energy instead of the energy from like the storm that you're pulling from or the element. Whereas if you pull and fill those containers, like I said, at your sides that you visualize, you're actually pulling and storing that energy in a location, and then you're directing it toward your goal and your cause. So I'd give that a try. I know it sounds cheesy as can be, but it really works. Sometimes a little bit of cheese in your visualization helps you out a lot. You're going to get me in Discord, huh? Okay. And yes, there's a Discord. There's usually a link below the videos where we do have a Discord. We got a nice little community going. People asking questions, just sharing general day-to-day things. Heck, was it yesterday? People were just sharing their artwork. We're building up a great little community that's helping each other. Okay, what is the exact hierarchy of dragons? That's actually a really good question. So guardian dragons are actually very young. They're essentially, if you will, think of them straight out of school, more in a not they don't really have a job. They're more like student teachers. So they're still going to school, but they also have to do this side work to get the in-field experience. So think of a guardian dragon in that light. They are actually very young. Now, co-magicians are actually much older. These are dragons that at some point have worked within an element of some kind for many years, but now they're stepping out of that element because they have all that experience and age, and now they're wanting to work to try and teach humans a bit and work with us and help guide us and hopefully knock some sense into us. And that becomes their focus is as a teacher. So guardian dragons won't even have an element. They're too young to actually have worked with a direct element. But co-magicians usually will have an element of some kind, but they'll have enough knowledge that they can advise you on the other elements as well if need be. From there, most dragons would fall under what's referred to as specialty dragons of one element or the other. And any of those dragons are just viewed as straight across the board equal. Even the 9 rulers, even though they're a step above what you'd view as the specialty dragons, if you sit down and talk to the 9 rulers, they would all say they are equal. They're all on the same level, even though we work with them from level of the physical realm up, because the more alien it gets from the physical realm, the more intense it gets, the harder it gets for a human to deal with it, because it's going to start throwing stuff at you that humans just don't want to deal with. And if you're not ready to deal with it, it can get rough and even dangerous at times. So it is set up in that kind of funnel for that reason, not necessarily one ruler rules over the other. Though it does appear in times of stress, most of the rulers will yield to the chaos ruler in most things. Now, this ain't something I've really talked about on the channel, but in Dragon Magic 104, there are 3 other dragons that fit into this little system. One of them is literally the overseer of the 9 rulers. His entire job is to basically negotiate anything between the 9 and make sure they're staying on task and maintaining the balance. And he also guards a gateway that, for lack of a better word, can exit reality. And past him, you encounter two dragons that the dragons refer to as the dragon and the dragoness. And they're the hardest ones to get to, reach, and work with. And even just being in their presence will mess your brain up if you're not ready. But ultimately, if you were to talk about the hierarchy-ish, if there is one, those would be the two at the top. Still yet, none of them want to be referred to as gods or deities or anything like that, even the dragon and dragoness. But if there was dragon deities at this point in my knowledge, they seem to be the closest thing to it. But there are also two entities where I'm really just getting deep into working with them. But the 104 course, once it's up, it focuses on those last three, but it's also viewed as an optional course because the rituals in that course will be intense for sure. Yeah, you can also, well, the Dragon's Flame ritual, Bernaldus, it would work like the storm. You're just pulling the energy from the ritual, not yourself. But yeah, you can use that for the same purposes. And it works great. It absolutely works great. And the same principle would apply. You start pulling the energy from the Dragon's Flame ritual as it's pouring into the spot, fill the containers up, and direct that energy as well. That's actually what I do most of the time, is to use the Dragon's Flame ritual to power my magic. But now don't get me wrong, if I got me a nice hurricane or a lightning storm, I got no problem stepping outside to do that. I love my storms. I have no idea how you tag someone else. I really don't, Bernaldus. Oh, TC, no, that's fine. Yeah, my wife does magic. She knows my practice. We discuss a lot of magic all the time, but no, she's very raw, untrained, more just raw will projected out, pure chaos style. I mean, honestly, she reminds me a lot of how Fae do magic. It's like there's no process. It's just somehow she just does it. And I've been spending years trying to figure out how she does it. But she does manifest what she wants when she wants by putting her will to it, sometimes even without knowing she's doing it until after it manifests. And she's like, "Ooh, wait, I was just thinking about that." So that lack of control point, she sometimes creates changes that she's not meaning to just because she's in a mood. But yeah, she does do magic, and she gets scary results too, really scary. And I often wonder what her results would be if she did have a more focused practice. I mean, it's almost scary to think about, but she does do magic. We do share our practices with each other. We talk about it, and we do have an understanding of each other's practice. It's just her practice is what she does and what I do. She seems really excited about the Fae path workings, because the ideal of being able to work with the Fae queens and the Fae lords and ladies is just, when I mentioned that to her, the smile that crossed her face, pure mischief, pure mischief. So I think she's really excited about those. Hey, what was the dragon's reaction when humans started existing? There's different stories and different opinions. Many dragons view us as a very young species and race. And because of that, their natural paternal protective instinct kicks in. So they do want to try and help us and better us and teach us to, be a better species race that's far more helpful in the multiverse than what we currently are. Unfortunately, in their effort to help us, you can look at our own history and our own myths, and you can find out we did them wrong. And because of that, there's a lot of distrust between dragons and humans. And that's one reason you do have to earn their trust and their respect and to befriend them. But outside that one event, they really have been hopeful for us. They really think that we do have a potential and they would like to see us reach it. We're the ones that muddied the water, and because of that, we have to be the ones to kind of unmuddy them. But still yet, the dragons are clearly reaching out and trying to bridge that gap on their own, because they reached out to DJ Conway, got her works published. They worked directly with me and then told me, hey, you're going to be sharing what we taught you now. And from what you all keep telling me, they keep driving you to my YouTube channel so you all can learn. So they're clearly trying to reconnect with us on a drastic level right now, which I find fascinating personally. Well, it's working on A's end, Bernaldus, apparently. Sorry if he was spamming you, A. He was just trying to answer your question and help you out a little there. Yeah, some people do refer to that. She refers to herself as just chaos. She is a daughter of Loki. She works with Loki most primarily, actually. She does have a lot of Fae traits. I know there's some skepticism of whether Fae blood exists in human lines or not, but if it does, that girl's definitely got it. But yeah, she's a natural. There's no doubts there. Wild Mage suits her. I've made that joke a lot myself, Bernaldus. Well, if you look at our history, we hunted them, we slayed them, we killed them, we pushed them back. We really demonized them pretty badly. You can see it in a lot of the myths and legends, and that's one of the reasons that you don't see them so much around here no more. So yeah, we gave them every reason not to trust us when they were trying to help us, but then we just went to slay the dragon, as it were. Which is sad. You aren't kidding, eh? There is definitely a surge and a flourish. It really surprised me because, what was it, November? I posted my intro to Dragon Magic video. And that was pretty much when the dam busted for this channel and everything flooded in. And even as a Dragon Magic practitioner, I don't guess I realized there were so many people seeking it. I guess that's one of those where you're too close to see it. You couldn't see the forest for the trees. But I am seeing it now. And that's why I'm always happy to answer questions. And I'm trying to keep videos coming on the topic and definitely get the path working that they have worked so hard to lay out and get it public for everybody and make it available and affordable. Yeah, Thorn, I would. Most of your wise serpents, in one way or another, when you start talking with dragons and working in the draconic realm, you find out most of them do tie to dragons. They really do. You do have some of them that are serpents that aren't necessarily dragons, but dragons and them work so closely that knowledge and that wisdom is still shared between them. But yeah, there's definitely a correlation there. Definitely. According to them, Dennis, yes, they were. According to them, they were here in the physical realm at one point until they decided to just shift their vibration and move out of the physical realm in the physical. And for that reason, most of the time when they're here, they do not appear physically. They will still appear energetically, so their whole presence can be here, but not with a physical, tangible body. Now, of course, there are reports and stories where this does happen. Firefighters report a lot seeing them in fires. A lot of people mention seeing them in the deeps of the oceans. But you'll notice it's environments where humans can't get to them. So they do focus on that safety a lot. But yeah, I mean, I have no way to prove it other than that's what the dragons have been telling me. And they've not really lied to me on anything, so I have to just take their word for it on that one, Dennis. Hey, Cloud, good to see you. So we got a lot of people up in here today. Make sure you're smashing that like button. We're up to 13 people, it looks like, in here, 11 likes. Appreciate it. Those likes really do help the channel. Appreciate it a lot. And the Patreon, we grabbed an extra Patreon member or two this week. I appreciate your support very much. Appreciate it. That really goes a long way to helping me continue to produce this content and keep the information coming to all the seekers, because I don't know if you know this, but YouTubing really don't pay that much. And when you ain't got the equipment, well, you got to do it however you can do it. But we'll trug along on a shoestring budget. We don't mind a bit. And you guys have been great about working with me on that. Now, if I can just find a magic spell to kill out jet noise, we'll be in the zone. But I don't think we can bypass the jet noise. So vampires and werewolves. That is actually a large topic. And it is really debated. And you do have multiple perspectives of it. So in one hand, you've got an older ideal of vampires where it's something you're born to. It's almost an energetic deficiency. And that deficiency has to be made up some way. And if you're not born to it, you don't get it, which most would view as a good thing. I do know the modern vampire community, a lot of them use it as an archetype that can just be taken on, and you choose that lifestyle. And then you got groups like, what is it? The Strigoi Vi or Strigoi V, where they use it as an archetype and a system of magic that you can be initiated into. And then you have some systems that claim they can make you into a vampire, which essentially would basically create that energetic deficit. So I'm, again, not sure why you'd want to, but and then you just have magic where people refer to it as vampiric magic because you're siphoning energy from something else or someone else in order to use it to empower your magic. Now, werewolves. I've noticed there's two main categories of these. There does seem to be a werewolf community where the moon seems to affect them in some way, not necessarily just the full moon. But from my research, it dumps adrenaline into their system so that you hear the stories of someone when adrenaline makes them able to pick a car up and whatnot off their child. So it's a similar thing, which makes them very irritable, cranky, aggressive. And then after the 3 days of whatever moon it is that affects them, they basically look like shit. I mean, they look like they got hit by a car. And about the time they start to feel better, there's another moon coming around. So that sounds like a miserable life to me. And of course, you do have myths and legends like the Lucaroo and the Rougarou in Louisiana, where this is a werewolf creature that prowls around the fields and the swamps. And I've done several cryptid investigations concerning it, and which that's actually a good point. I actually have gotten a lot of emails okaying for me to share a lot of the old investigations and stuff I've done. So some of these stories and whatnot, I'll be able to share on this channel. And that's a series we're planning to start up here soon. So actually a good question to be asking. But those, other than the stories and the encounters, I've never seen anything to make me believe in that particularly. So I don't know where I stand on that. Y'all know I'm scientifically minded, so I need something more than just an account or something. But I'd be lying if I said in my time in Louisiana researching the Rougarou, I saw some weird crap I cannot explain. I cannot. I have no way. And that does kind of lead me closer to there might be something to this. So, yeah. You know what? Let's see if this blinds us here. It's getting dark up in here. Sun's going down on us. Hopefully I still have a nose. Apologize for the bright light shift, but it was getting dark. Yeah, so werewolves are there's a lot less information. The vampire community definitely is better fleshed out. The good news about energetic vampires, if you put up a basic bubble shield, they can't penetrate it. So just shield and let them starve. I know it sounds harsh, but do it. And there's a video on the channel for basic bubble shielding if you don't know how. But yeah, a lot of them, whether they're vampires or just energy takers, they will drain you. And many of them's just drama queens. They like stirring up the drama and everything so they can feed off that energy. And that I'm not a drama person. I prefer to stay away from the drama. Yeah, Peachy Nola, you all like to stir up some trouble down there. I actually got to get back down there for some more investigations soon. No problem. No problem. Welcome back, Uga. Glad to know your phone's working now. What the? Oh, wait. Okay. I was about to say, what's wrong with my coffee? I forgot this is actually a flavored coffee that I made the cold brew out of. Good, 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 good. So maybe we're working on the lighting situation here. We'll figure it out. Trial and error, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, I mean the myths go across the board. I barely touched. I mean, some of them is punishment. I know at least a few of the legends in Louisiana say the Rougarou, if you kill it, you take its place. Oh, it's good. It is good. It is good. Others, it's the bite, the scratch, or if you die from a werewolf's wound, then you wake up the next day as one. I mean, the stories are just so mixed and marbled, it's really hard to sort out. But then again, that's one of the reasons I love researching it, because I do like trying to figure out where the pieces are, where it's coming from. Is there any fact in there? So now that I'm able to get the okay from the people, because originally all my investigations were confidential, that's the way I did it, so they would talk to me. And I'm a man of my word. Now that I'm getting some of them to allow me to open the files up, whether it's just change name or locations or whatnot, I'm planning to start doing video voiceovers where I essentially read the story. So I think it's going to be fun to get to share some of those. Um, it probably would. It probably would. Weirdly, my wife doesn't get that angry at me. In fact, if y'all heard the chicken story I told on here one day, that's about the angriest she's ever been at me, and she was more worried about me being okay. But when it comes to technology, my wife loves technology. So I think something else would break. My pants fall down, my belt breaks, something other than my technology because she likes technology. She actually doesn't mess technology up the way I do. If anything, she can fix it. So she's one of the people helping me work on understanding why certain magicians affect technology and why we're starting to see the rise of, I think what people call them is techno mages or technomancers, because we are seeing a group of mages rise up like that, and that really can affect technology in those ways. And if we can figure out why, maybe we can stop the rest of us from blowing them up. 11, no. Any language can be used for spells pretty easily. I know Latin seems to be uberly popular, but at the time, that was just what most of your literature was written in because only educated people were taught Latin at the time. So everything was shifted to Latin. But as far as magical languages themselves, you can use any language you want. Some people even use a language they're not super familiar with because the extra concentration they feel adds to it. And that can, but you also got to weigh it against, is the extra concentration adding to it or taking away? Because if you have to put too much focus, you lose focus on everything else and it starts taking away. So you got to be careful with those. Me, everything I do is pretty much in English. Yeah, see, Uga's right. Your first language generally works best because for the off language to work, you got to get it right in that sweet spot, and that's hard to do. Enochian can be handy for angels, though I've never had angels give me any issues with using other languages. I got a lot of spells written in runic for angels, so but Enochian can be very handy when working with angels. Because I've never seen a language that really shines out. Um, I've found magicians that have a preference, but no specific language that pulls ahead of the others, if that makes sense. A demonic language sounds, yeah, demonic language would be kind of neat. Um, and working in the infernal planes, they do seem to have a language, though it's very guttural and I couldn't separate if there was a word in it or not. I don't even know if there might be some psychic communication involved in it. But well, it's nothing I can pronounce or even pretend to pronounce for y'all. Well, it's a term used for magicians or witches who they're really good with technology. They can actually, it's like if your computer's having a problem, they can actually work with the computer like you would a person using Reiki and find and isolate the problem. Some of them's even been able to just make it start working, or they can tell you, well, this piece is bad. We need to change it out. They just have a natural affinity. Many of them even use their computers as familiars. But I mean, from my point of view, their big advantage is they don't short things out like I do. As you all know, I recently killed my computer. But yeah, they do seem to be able to have a magical influence over technology and even read it and be able to tell what's wrong with it. Some of them make really good mechanics too, because they can do that stuff with cars. But right now, it's a younger breed ish compared to Magic. So there's not a lot of writings on it and not a lot known, which is sad. I'd like to see more books done on it. I'm not the guy to do a book on it because technology hates me, but I'm sure. I mean, I can think of one girl I wish she would do a book on it. I don't want to call her out in the stream, but I may try to get in touch with her. It's been a few years. I think she should do a book on it. Yeah, I'd agree, Thorn. All languages and speech will work in Magic. Hey, Namir, thanks for joining us. And the coffee is good. That won't be good. Oh, and we also got the lights fixed so I'm not glowing like a freaking sunspot up in here this week. So that's helpful. And as Bernoldus keeps pointing out, I have a nose this time because he said I didn't have a nose in the last streams. Well, it depends on what plane you're on, Namir, because the planes are all jumbled around, but in the astral's so big it's rare to run into anything. And thought forms, and I know this pisses a lot of magicians off, but I'm going to say it. Thought forms are easy to blast. If it's a spirit, it's going to have a bit more resilience. A thought form, hold your hand up, project some banishing energy, and they're pretty much not a problem anymore. If you encounter them. So thought forms are, especially if they're the random ones, not that weren't created, those generally dissolve so quickly no one will encounter them. And if you do, it's like swatting a fly on your face. It really is. They're no problem. But again, the astral's so massive that you usually don't encounter them. Yeah, TC, the computer whisperer. And I keep telling her she needs to take a few technology classes and consider some work in it because if she can fine tune her techno magery, she could do really good. But then again, that goes back to that focus, and she don't do the focus. She just does wild magic. I feel this, put it out there, and make it happen. So, guess that's kind of going against the grain with her general practice. So. Thought form Uga is created by a person. It's literally an entity that's created from energy, and shaped by thought, and then empowered and brought to some form of sentience. And then that sentience allows it to free roam to some extent. Ones that are accidentally created, they dissipate real quick. They don't have any way to maintain energy. Ones that are created, the magician creates usually for a purpose, usually keeps them nearby. Think of your classical golem kind of thing or arcane construction. And usually the magician feeds them energy or gives them a way to feed energy to themselves. But they also have a kill command for them. And they're often called servitors in that case when a magician creates them. So if you check out the channel, there's a video on how to create servitors. That'd give you a good idea on that one. Dennis, that's a good question, and I've been trying to answer it, and I'm hoping to get a better answer from the dragon and the dragoness. But at this point in time, we do not know where the dragons showed up on the timeline. Most of the deities I've talked to say the dragons were there before them, which that fried my noodle when I found that out. But they also state the dragons didn't create them. So the dragons didn't create the deities, but the deities claim the dragons were there first, or at least, well, some of the older dragons, not all of them. because dragons do age. So the dragon and dragoness, to the best of my research so far, let me specify that, so far, appear to be the first dragons. They appear to be. That's not written in stone. That's just with the research we currently have. But we also don't know when they appeared on the scene. And since entities don't keep time the same way we do, you almost have to compare timelines from different groups of entities to try and track down who's where. And oh, that is getting difficult. So at this time, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but in dragons themselves, it would appear that the dragon and the dragoness, at least at this point, appear to be the two oldest and first dragons. I do wonder if there wasn't something above them that created them. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I have no answers. That's about the best I can do for you, Dennis. I hope that helps you some. So, I mean, and it's tricky because everybody's looking for a creator, but in many cases, there's just no creator. It's just like a grouping of entities just comes into being somehow, weirdly. But then again, it's when you start working in the planes like that, you're getting into areas that you're trying to wrap your head around information that's way bigger than we are. But I mean, of course, you do have magicians like me that we're going to keep asking questions until either we drop dead or figure it out. So hopefully someday, sometime, I will have that answer and be able to share it with reasons to support my thoughts. Because y'all know I don't like saying this is how it is unless I have reasons. I can tell you my theory. I can tell you what it appears to be, but I can't. If I don't have enough data, I don't say this is how it is. Yeah, if you cast a circle, it will also be in the astral. It will. Because energetically it crosses the two over, creating a space between spaces. That's one of the reasons for them. Yeah, actually, Uga, very good. Yeah, what people refer to as a humilocus is a thought form that inhabits a physical thing. Most people say it has to be an animated thing, which I've never seen one of those. But I've also heard people refer to it as an entity that inhabits a physical thing, even if it doesn't have to move. But then you're getting back to, opinion of terms there. But yeah, one thing that is agreed upon, it is definitely a physical creation for homunculuses. I'm trying to learn more, and that's one reason, like in 102, we do open up the Draconic Realms to you, so you can actually go in the central spires and cities. There's actually libraries and stuff where you can actually learn more about their histories and try and decipher it to some extent. They know bits and pieces of where we came. Well, okay, I should say that. Let me rephrase it. They know where we came from, but they're a little tight-lipped on it for some reason. So they're not 100% willing to share it. But yeah, the dragons do predate us by quite a bit, and depending on the dragon, they won't lie to you, but the answer they give won't be as straightforward as you're hoping. Well, no matter in theory they could be, but a dragon when you face off with a real dragon, even a little guardian, their energetic signature is drastically different than a thought form and a bit more intense. So you should be able to pick that up quickly. And if you've done the finding your guardian dragon ritual, like the guided meditation, that meditation will definitely draw the dragons to you and you'll know what that energy feels like. So that kind of helps eliminate that. And you can also, I mean, you can also make it so thought forms can't pop up in your sanctum. Best way to get rid of them is some form of banishing. Most parasitic entities do not hang around for much of anything. They're looking for the easiest opportunity for energy. So the slightest little banishing will usually run them off. My go-to is the Dragon's Flame ritual because it cleanses, protects, and empowers. So if there's any parasitic entities, the flames will try to drive them off first, and if they resist, it just nukes them and will just rip them apart, which is very handy. You can also use the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram if you know it, or any banishing ritual that you currently have at work. You can also use sound. Sound is a wonderful thing. Or sage. Sage is also a great way to cleanse the energy and therefore rid your house of parasitic entities as well as yourself if you're smudging and saging yourself. Another great method is actually to use a banishing spell on your body wash. This is one of my favorite. If you empower your body wash with a banishing, every day when you go into the shower to clean up, you will just cleanse yourself of any negative crap that's attached to you. You're not necessarily born with a guardian dragon. I don't know where that concept really came from. I've asked the dragons about it many times, and they keep saying, no, you're not born. It's not like you're born with a specific dragon attached to you. Dragons are protective of kids, so it's not unusual to find dragons looking after a child, but it's not like they follow that child through its life. They just kind of change off in and out of your life as ships passing in the night. It's when you reach out to locate your guardian dragon, the appropriate guardian that would best suit you comes to you at that time. It's not one that was with you your whole life. And that's a question I've been getting a lot, and I'm not really sure where that ideal came from. I think they're trying to make guardian dragons like guardian angels, which they're very much not. Hey, you may be right, Cloud. You may be right. Like I said, I'm still researching, and I mean, I tend to look forward more than back, so I'm not too worried about who created me as much as I am wanting to go forward. Um, so I don't tend to worry overly much about that. But I mean, you got so many variations and stories of creation. My personal opinion is I don't think humans as we know us was created by one entity. I really don't. I think every one of the creation myths holds truth, and we are a work in progress across the board. I don't think we're all just created at one spot. I can't prove it, but at the same time, if all these different pantheons and all these different groupings of entities have a history that if you were to do any truth seeing or not on it, it would show up true that there is a creation myth around it, then you have to at least be open to the concept that humans are not a work by one entity, but we are a group effort of creation. If that makes any kind of sense at all. If I just confused y'all, I'm sorry, but I do think that that seems to be the most probable. Y'all know I'm not religious, um, but that's my current sitting view. Yeah, I did. I answered that. Basically, they do know where we came from, but they don't answer it straight enough. And again, I think that ties back to Cloud's question or comment there because I don't think we came from one source. I really don't. So you can't get a straight answer from them because there is no one singular answer. But instead of going back through the whole thing, I'll just say catch the replay because that was a pretty big explanation I gave back there. Yes, dragons will tell you straight up. There's a difference between a guardian dragon and a guardian spirit. Dragons do separate themselves from other entities pretty drastically. Other entities can take the shape of a dragon, but if they're not a true dragon born and raised, then dragons don't view them as a dragon. An example of this could be Lucifer, who often does appear as a dragon, but and many of the other deities within the draconian traditions, but that doesn't make them and of themselves true dragons. So yeah, there are guardian spirits, but dragons are a separate category. They're not guardian spirits; they are dragons. And there are plenty of entities that are very well charged for looking out with little humans. And I guess that's one reason dragons aren't overly concerned about us. But at the same time, they are willing to attempt to reach out and work with us. It might be. It might be very new age. It might be Bernaldus. But at the end of the day, the way I've always viewed it is it doesn't really matter because if you reach out to get your guardian dragon and you get it, doesn't matter if he's been there your whole life or just today. You now got your guardian dragon to work with, and that's when the fun begins. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it. I don't know. There you go, TC. That's how you do it. Lock it down. My astral sanctum is pretty locked down, other than entities that, well, you're not going to really be able to keep them out. It's locked down. But yeah, the dragons have free reign. They come and go as they please. Most of the entities I work with and have befriended over the years, they can come and go as they please. There are other entities I've worked with, I haven't really befriended, so they need to call ahead. Well, I hope that's a good way that I answered your question there, Uga. Well, Magician Girl, that is a fact. That is a fact right there. We can't argue that one, can we? Cloud, I believe it. I mean, you look at humans, they had to be drunk. They really did. They had to be drunk to create us. Hey, Elifrom, welcome, man. Good to see you. No, you can leave your astral sanctum as empty as you like or as complex as you like. I know one person, it's literally just like a flat desert plain of sorts with no sand, if that makes sense. It's just like flat wasteland. But that's what they're comfortable with, and that's what they're good working with. So if that's what you want, then work with it. Then, people start decorating it and getting crazy and wild with it. Our own Peachy here probably has one of the most complex astral sanctums anyone shared with me. It's yours. It's your personal plane. You do what you do with it, and if you're happy with it, rock and roll, girl. Rock and roll. No, Meyer, no, I do not. Dream work is not one of my fortes. It's not one I've really enjoyed because it's it's so unreliable because the dream realm is, even when you do take control, it's still shifting around you outside your control. And that just seems inefficient to me. So I've never took the time to understand how to shift from lucid dreaming into soul travel. And honestly, I have insomnia, so I don't sleep much anyway. So even if I wanted to, I wouldn't have the time to practice that most people do. Downside with insomnia. So all my soul travel I do in my waking hours. I sit down mindfully to actually do it. So that's one area I apologize. I do not do much in dream work at all. Part of my clifothic workings, there's several dream workings in that particular path working that I'm trying to work through. And I do them. I do them. I do not just skip them. And I've gotten some really weird results. But at the same time, sometimes I get no results. So, I've been playing around with it a bit more, but it is still one of those areas I'm afraid I can't really give any good advice on. Oh yeah, you get her talking about her sanctum, pack a lunch. Actually, pack 2 lunches. Trust me, you'll need it. But you'll have fun. That's a tricky one. I know it's not part of the astral plane. I know you can access it from the astral plane. As is it part of our minds? That's one I've been trying to figure out. Because you can enter from the dream world from the astral plane, and at least in that realm, it's like you can move from dream to dream. So part of me wants to say it is its own plane separate from us, but it's like the dream itself that's created within the dream realm, if this makes sense, is part of it. So to draw an analogy, the dream realm is the ocean, and your dream is one specific boat, and that boat is captained by you. It is you, but you can go from the ocean to the boat. But the dream realm as a whole is separated, but it does seem that the dream itself is attached to you. I hope that makes some kind of crazy sense. Yes, Ooga Booga. A astral plane is a plane on the. It's a personal plane that you construct within the astral realm. Like I said, it's so expansive, you're next to never going to run into anything. And you create your own little pocket plane or dimension in there. You are its lord and master. You can shape it as you want, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great place to do your work. And there is a video on the channel about crafting an astral sanctum. Great question, Joe. Absolutely great. I've also been told, I forgot to remind y'all, we do have a super chat. If you got a question and I miss it, you can always do the super chat and make sure this thing pops up and flashes and says, "Hey Drake, you dummy, you done missed this." But we're already over an hour, so I doubt that. Uga, you don't really need to have astral projection down to do it. In fact, it's actually one of the best training tools to start. If you can meditate and do a little bit of trance work, you can get started crafting it pretty easily. Elephant, yes, entities can be attached to items and statues. That's one reason I don't really prefer doing antique shopping. And if I do Goodwill shopping or antique shopping, I cleanse the living hell out of it before I bring it in the house. I don't want to buy my own trouble, as it were, in that case. Um, and you can also now, when it comes to people talking about, I want to bind an entity to this item, I'm against that. I'm against anything that screws with free will on any level. But crafting a vessel that an entity can move in and out of at will, that I will do. But yeah, as far as that, an entity could actually possess an item, and you buy it at a estate sale, antiques or something, and then you would be bringing that energy and or entity into your home. Yeah, do a little energy balancing on your chakras might help you out. You can also try the Dragon's Flame ritual. It does a great job at just cleansing your whole energy body, top to bottom, when you do it. So if you're having trouble, go ahead and give that a swing. Well, there's a lot of old energy in all that stuff, even if it's not negative. That stuff has a lot of energy in it. So that's generally why. But yeah, you can find stuff attached to them all the time. Well, yeah, it is a little odd, I'll admit, because that wasn't something that was necessarily planned. I didn't even plan on getting into dragon magic when I started researching magic. That kind of just dropped on my lap too. Um, and Lord, all those years ago, if you'd have told me I'd ever be on camera, I'd have laughed you in the face because I'm terrified of cameras. I am doing better though. Obviously, y'all have seen how far I've come during these live streams. So uh, I don't know how I got here. I really don't. um, I've worked with the dragons. They've been good to me and my family, as have the other entities I've worked with. And I always tell you all, it's a friendship. You build a genuine, real friendship. And friendships are a two-way street. So when they came up and they was like, we want you to share this information, the only problem I had was, how am I going to share it? I can't organize a book to save my life. But I tried and I kept trying. And eventually the dragons steered it so they're like, okay, you can't organize a book. Let's put it on a video. So I have to give them most of the credit. I'm just basically following instructions at this point. But it is odd that I ended up here because this is not where I saw my life going at any point in my life. I did some investigation work. Honestly, when I was a child, I wanted to be a marine biologist. That was my thing. I love the ocean. Never have lost my love of the ocean. Or something to do in the wilderness. I even considered being a parks ranger at one point. At no point in my life would I have even thought of or considered that I might end up here. How that happened, don't know. One of life's happy little mistakes, I guess. As who said that? Was that Bob Ross who used to say that? Happy little mistake. But I'm grateful for it. I really am. It's really great to be able to help so many people and meet so many people and discuss viewpoints and share information. It's been a blessing. Um, there are people who do believe that the gods were created by us. In my research, though, I don't think that's the case. Um, Dennis, hey man, well, thank you. I appreciate the support, my man. I really do, definitely. Because most of the deities that I've worked with, many of them do predate humans in many ways. That's not to say that's the case with all of them, because you'd have to be an arrogant fool to say you've worked with every deity deep enough to know the truth. And I don't. Y'all, I mean, there's a handful of deities I know well. I think it was last week y'all were asking me questions about deities, and it's like I had about five that I could actually answer deeply questions on. Um, but now, from the ones I have met and confirmed that do definitely seem to predate humans, I have to say at least a good chunk of them, in my opinion, aren't created by us. I do believe they have an interest in us. I believe some of them do want worship. The Egyptians are bad on the worship one. But it seems most of them just want to try and help us out one way or the other, teach us. Sometimes those lessons are harsh, but I do actually understand why a lot of people do also see the possibility that we created them, and it's it's one of those philosophical rabbit holes. I think we could actually spiral down almost infinitely and never really quite find the bottom. Thank you, Magician Girl or Peachy. Oh yeah, I love the ocean. I've done research papers on sharks and all kinds of other. Sharks were my big one. I loved sharks. Carcharodon, Megalodon, and Carcharodon were my big areas of study. That's really what I wanted to study when I got out of school. I planned to go to college for marine biology. Just life didn't work out that way. Just didn't. Changes in attitude, you know. But I still love the ocean. Never lost my love of the water and the ocean. You know, TC, I think you're the second person that's let me know they got an energy shower. That is a really great add-on. I think more people should be sticking those in their sanctums. Elephant, that's a good question. I know we can accidentally create thought forms. I know we can accidentally create egregores. Um, so if you extend the word entity to those, yeah, we can do that. Anything beyond those two takes so much focus and energy. Um, I don't know if we can or not, man. Uh, I mean, in the vastness of the multiverse and just random circumstances, I'm sure anything's possible at some point if you put it on a long enough timeline. Um, but I would say 95% in the range of I don't think we can accidentally create anything beyond egregores accidentally. Um, and that is something I could be wrong about. And if I find out otherwise, I'll let you know. But um, a lot of people count thought forms and egregores and entities. And if that's the case, then definitely. But I do have to draw that line because sure as I say we can accidentally create entities, people start saying, well, I accidentally created this dragon. I accidentally created that demon. I accidentally created that god. And then I'm like, oh, Lord, I got to go on YouTube and try and explain why I said what I said. Honestly, it was I shortly left the church, and I was looking for something else, and I always had a love of science. So my pursuit into magic was more of trying to understand religion from a science point of view. And I moved into Wicca, and it was just another religion to me. And I do not like religions. I've said it before. They're great for some people. For me, they just don't work. But in there, I found magic, and I found something that had a very scientific method like feel to it. Because while I was in there, I did study other forms of magic, including ceremonial magic, and so many people refer to ceremonial magic as more of a science and then a religion. And that's really when I realized I could focus more on the science of magic and not deal with the religion and see if I got results. And from that, yeah, I started getting some really great results. And it was just two sides of me just clicked, and I've been on the go ever since with that one. Again, Clyde, you have a lot of different history points where we were saved by different entities and beings. So again, I think that the stories are bigger than a singular area, I think. But you are correct. The Gnostic religions do go that direction. The Dragon Magic playlist right now, I do try to keep it in order of beginner to intermediate. But YouTube likes to juggle videos around on me occasionally. That said, technically all the videos that are currently posted are beginner level. So um, you should be able to go in there and begin practicing. Um, my recommendation is work on the Dragon's Flame ritual, get to know it. Reach out to your guardian dragon. We both have a ritual and a guided meditation for that if you prefer. And then your co-magician would be the better way to start. But yeah, there are some videos I think I'm going to start creating where I'm actually going to have to put warnings on. Like once you get past the first four rulers, the other five can really mess with you if you're not ready to work with those. So I need to try and remember to put an advanced or intermediate warning on those videos when I put those out. But we do have a full Dragon Magic 101 class over at the online school for $30. It's you go to workingdragonmystic.com and you'll see a tab that says classes or courses. I can never remember. There's also a link below the video, and the Dragon Magic 101 course is there. It's complete video classes, complete walkthroughs, ritual demos, path workings with all four of the first rulers. I mean, we go deep in that class because it allows me to do things YouTube won't let me do. But the videos here should all be beginner for right now. Take it easy, TC. Thank you for joining us. No, it is true. If you had enough people believing in a singular entity, it could manifest as a powerful egregore, but still an egregore. That's why I drew the line there, if that makes sense, Bernaldus. DeChan, me too. Now, I've seen a lot of people who can use what's called faith magic, And when you see it, it is a beautiful thing. Oh, it is a beautiful thing. It's magnificent. Not ever a form of magic I see me ever being able to use because it takes true and pure faith to do. But it is there. Unfortunately, some bad apples have given what could be a positive thing a bad name. And that's across the board. I'm not splitting hairs on anyone. Seriously, that's across the board. I've yet to meet any faith or religion that doesn't have bad apples that just make me say no to religion. Oh my God, no. Put that back on. Okay, this is how we control the flare. That's how we control the lens flare. We keep my forehead from reflecting light everywhere. Okay, see, now we know how to control the light here. It's all about the hat. So, okay. But yeah, I'm with him. I ran. I do still help different groups and churches and religions because I do believe they can do good for some people. It's just not my cup of tea. Take it easy, Uga, and get some rest. Sleep well. Hope to see you in the Discord if you join. Yeah, you did join, so I hope to see you in there sometime. I'm in there quite a bit. Dennis, my man. Thank you. You like the background? Yeah. I was playing around with some new backgrounds down here since we've been shooting down here because of the heat. So I appreciate it. I'm glad y'all like it. We might have to keep this one. I was actually using this as a meditation background in the ritual room because I was thinking of possibly shooting videos in there. But the ritual room is just so crowded with random stuff piled up that it's hard to get any camera angle in there. So it's really great to find a use for this. And I really do love that forest look back there. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks. Power of the forehead. Yeah. That's just because that's where my big brain is, you know. I got to keep it in here. The hat, it helps protect my brain. That's the superpower of my hat. It helps protect it. Helps suppress the mind powers, you know, so I don't overwhelm y'all with bright, shiny, blinding mind powers. That is a theory, Bernaldus, and it's a curious one because I don't know. Most of the deities I've spoke with said it would create a very powerful entity, but they don't seem to think it would make it into a god. But I'm a little hazy on what they refer to as a god and not. That right now is the big question, is trying to define where that line is. And when you're talking to the different entities, that's what you got to figure out. Where are they drawing their line when they're answering your question? But that is lines of questions I do still ask, and I'm trying to figure out where they draw their lines. But all right, everyone. You know what? We're going to hop off here. We've already been on an hour and 28. So if you have any last minute questions, drop them in real quick. I'll try and take care of those. We do have a new video coming out Tuesday. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what's coming out Tuesday. I apologize. We do have the Magical Coffee Hour stream coming Sunday. And assume I'll be by myself. I've not heard from Linda, so I do not know how her computer's doing. But we are still working to get her back. We all miss Linda, definitely. And I am definitely going to be working on some classes. That said, other than the live streams and the videos, the next 2 weeks, I will be in Discord, but I might not be in there as often as you all are used to because my wife is possibly coming home. So I want to spend some quality time with her. It's been a long time since I've seen her and want to definitely make sure to catch up with her. So I'm going to try and take a week or two to spoil her rotten. That's if that happens. So yeah, other than that, see what we got here. Did any questions come in? You had a question that a skim bass? How dare I? I've never encountered it from a practitioner, though that is something I was taught as a kid. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I do believe that. I really do, because honor and values and morals are something I was just raised with. And I was trained and taught that you have to know who you are as an individual, and you need to know where you stand on specific topics. Um, and you always have to be evaluating yourself very critically so that you do know where you stand, because when those come up, you need to stand for exactly what it is you stand and believe in, even if you're standing alone. And you often will be standing alone. Um, there's been plenty of times in my life where I do find myself standing alone because I stand for what I believe in. And it gets you in trouble. Gets you in trouble. But at least I can lay my head down at night knowing I'm still me. So yeah, I have encountered it, just not from a practitioner actually. But it is definite. I would encourage anyone. In fact, a few of you on Discord know I'm thinking about reviewing a book that talks about a lot of these principles of knowing who you are, figuring out where you stand, what your values are, your honor. It's not particularly a metaphysical book, but I think any practitioner would reap just exponential value from what is taught in that book. So I'm looking to review it very soon on the channel. Cloud, no, dried herbs do not lose their power. You can store dried herbs for years and years and years. They might lose their flavor for cooking, but they do not lose their energetic magical properties. So, all right, Cloud, take it easy. Flettle, take it easy. All right, Dennis got a question here real quick. If I've seen it, I'm not recalling it right now. I'll have to pop over and check it out. I usually click around on YouTube when I'm unwinding at the end of the night, Dennis. So I will pop over and check it out and watch a few of the videos. Oh, maybe I have watched a few of them. Maybe I have. Cool. Well, I'll remember. Oh, Frederick Xavier. Yeah. Okay. See, I know the guy, not the channel. What? Now I remember, Bernaldus, because we ran into the same problem. I knew the guy, not the channel. Yeah, I have seen the channel. I have. I find many of his videos very interesting, and I love his philosophies. So, all right, everyone. It has been a wonderful night. Thank you all for joining me. If you haven't already, drop us a like if you can. Once the video is published on the replay, drop some comments, say hello. Again, that's some of the best things you can do to help this channel out, because it tells the algorithm, hey, this is an active channel. People like it. Let's keep sharing it with new people. And that helps us get our message out to all the people seeking this information. Even though it does appear the dragons tend to be steering quite a few people here as well. Yes, Bernaldus, the stream must end, unfortunately. I know you're not at work tonight, but yes, the stream must end. It must end. So, if y'all want to, pop over to Discord. We can continue answering some questions and goof off a little over there for a while. And until Sunday, y'all take it easy, and I'll see you around.